Alright guys, first time I'm going live with my iMac. I've never done this before, but I'm also video recording this live feed, so I've got two feeds going on. It's been a while since I did a Stony Raw video, so bear with me as I go through this. As you guys know, I've been doing a Stony Raw series, which is basically an autobiography of my life. And you can find that on YouTube if you just Google Stony Raw. You can check it out, but I figured I'd go live with my next video here. And I got a few people joining, so we'll see what happens. It's Friday night, so people may be out. Mr. Russell Meager, my brother, Mike joined, so hey, I hope you guys stick with this for a little bit. But my Raw series on YouTube is out there. A lot of stuff before now is posted, and this series here that I'm doing is called Moved to Sunnyvale. So this is about the age of 10, around 1976 plus or minus a year. I'm about the third grade, and my mom is about 26 years of age, and that's where we kind of are at this point. But we moved to Sunnyvale, and this is where, you know, the point of my life. My mom married Roger Meager, and was just recently introduced to my stepbrothers and sisters, Robin and Russ, and we moved out to Sunnyvale. And the next series of videos is going to be a lot about Sunnyvale. That's where I spent most of my life up until this point. You know, I've been moved around quite a bit, house to house, very unstable. You know, I'm on dad number 3 at this point. So a lot of instability in my life, and this whole video is about the introduction into the next 7 years of me and what's kind of developed and made me who I am. Lots of memories in Sunnyvale. You know, some of the things that you know, that stick is Russ, you know, my stepbrother. I don't like using that term stepbrother, because to me he's as close as a brother as I can get. You know, I look at Russ and Trino as being my brothers. Trino is a neighbor that I met when I moved to Sunnyvale, and him and I were, you know, just as thick as thieves as Russ and I were. So, you know, when I kind of look at my defragmented family, you know, I got a half-brother named Adam. And at this point, he's MIA. His dad's taken him. Don't know what's going on with him. You know, I'm a child. I don't know all the story about that. But I do know that, you know, he wasn't a big part of my life at that point. But Russ, you know, moved in. He's my stepdad's son. He's a big part of my life. Russ was there through thick and thin. He definitely stepped into that role of being a big brother to me. I believe he was the youngest on my stepdad's side. And, you know, in this blended family, he became the oldest. And he definitely took that role on as being an older brother, and you know, means the world to me. So you know, blood isn't thicker than water. I think your family is who you make it, and I've made my family with a lot of my, you know, step siblings and things that have been, you know, situations that have been put in my life. You know, Trino, who's, you know, next door neighbor. Over the years, we got to know each other, and you know, we didn't always get along. You know, we fought like brothers. You know, it was one of those relationships that was a love to hate type of thing. Russ's relationship was always a love type relationship. There was never a hate scenario in that, but he definitely looked after me over the years. And as we get into later videos, you'll see a lot of that. You'll see a lot of him being a really big part of my life. I think Russ had a lot to do with how I turned out, along with my, you know, stepfather. You know, I don't want to discredit my mom at all. You know, she was a big part of, you know, trying to make decisions and doing the right things, you know, for herself as well as for me. But, you know, I was in a unique situation as a child to kind of pick and choose what I wanted to be in life. You know, if you go back and you look through, you know, the rest of the videos on YouTube, you know, I had my mom got married at 14, had me at 16. You know, my real father was very young. and you know, it you know, was kids having kids, and then, you know, I get, you know, Roger or George in the loop, you know, not very positive role model in that point. And then all of a sudden here comes Roger, and, you know, again, from a child's perspective, not anything to do with my mom and his relationship, but when I look at my relationship with him, he was very strict. You know, I still remember, you know, when James Bond 007 came in, Roger Moore. That's who I always think of my dad. When I think of my dad, I think of Roger Moore. And, you know, he put my mom on a pedestal. He treated me very different than he did his own kids, which was interesting. He definitely treated me different over the years. I think he still does to some degree, and I don't know why that is, but he has treated me a little different in a positive way. And some of that will come out over the year, you know, over the next few videos. I think I've counted, you know, when I'm all said and done with this autobiography, it's going to probably be about, you know, 50 different videos as I break it down. But you know, putting myself out there is a big step. It's a healing process for me. It helps me get through some of the issues I have as growing up. But, you know, a little bit about my stepfather, which I don't refer to him as my stepdad, you know, as Roger Meager. I've taken on the Meager name. I joke about me being an Irish Mexican. You know, I'm born Hispanic. Got some Indian background, but I really relate to the Meager type, you know, with that name and what have you. So, you know, Roger was a huge part of my life, and what I look at as the most informative years, as I look back at my past to my previous marriage, and my previous marriage, she had a son that was, you know, 7 years old. I took him under my wing, just as Roger took me under his wing. My current wife, in the same situation. She had 2 boys from a previous marriage. Unfortunately, her husband passed away at a very young age. I think he was 40 when he passed away. And I've taken those 2 kids under my wing as my own, just as Roger did with me as well. So, you know, I truly believe that being a step parent can be more difficult and more rewarding than being an actual parent. For some of you know that I do have a child of my own from a previous marriage. I don't talk a lot about that situation, but in some future videos I will. You'll get to know more about that situation. Won't go into it at this point, but a lot of things happening there that are hard for me to deal with as well. So this is just kind of a precursor video. Don't want to make it too long, but you know, we moved to Sunnyvale. The previous video, I meet my stepbrother and sister for the first time. We moved to a house, and the next, I think it's about 7 years, is really where there's a lot of stories, a lot of things that go on, and this is where you really start to get to know me, and maybe, you know, what's really, you know, drives me to be who I am. One of the things I honestly think is with my situation, you know, a lot of people have one mom, one dad. I've been in a situation to have one mom and several dads. That's why this series is called My 3 Dads. It really talks about how I've been able to pick and choose what I want to do as an adult, and make decisions based on, you know, good and bad. You know, leave the bad, take the good, and try to be the best person that I am. So, you know, it's been, you know, an interesting journey. In the next, you know, 7 years as I go through this, you'll get to learn a lot more about me and my story. And, you know, the whole point of this, again, is I want people to learn from this. Is you're going to have a totally screwed up childhood, and you don't have to grow up being a jerk. You make choices in your life. You know, whether you're going to be an alcoholic, whether you're going to be a wife abuser, a child abuser, you know, whether you're going to be a good person or not. And a lot of, you know, things that happened in my journey, you know, kind of says that I should be somebody totally different. But I've made choices, and that's what this whole story is about. The Stony Raw is about my choices and what I've done in my life, and what's kind of molded me into the person I am. There's some good things and some bad things, and as you watch these videos, you'll see, that it's just raw. This is unedited, unscripted. I've got some topics I'm going to talk about, and I just kind of look at the topic and then just let it go. And this is unedited, and I go live and I post it. And people have questions or comments that are watching. You can feel free to ask those. I'll answer them. I can see who's on there. Nicole Gates, hey Stony, yep, I appreciate that. I appreciate you watching. My brother Russ is on or was on, and comments says I still love you, brother. It's been a tough life, but there's no excuses. I've done very well for myself, and there's things I've been proud of, and there's a lot of things I'm not proud of. But those are all the things that have turned me into who I am, and that's what this next series will be about. So I like to keep these at about 10-15 minutes. It looks like I'm at about 10 minutes now, and watch for the next one just to give you a cursory glimpse at what's coming up. So this video is going to be titled Move to Sunnyvale. I got a next series about my new BFM, my brother from another mother, Trino. Talk a lot about him and I's relationship. I'm going to step back in time and talk about George and visitations, and a few things. As I do these, the titles may change a little bit because it triggers different memories. I remember my dad getting involved in building a playground. We'll talk about my name change, and then a whole series about Stoney's girlfriends, CB club meetings, camping trips, haunted house, the Berry tracks. So these things will have some meaning as they come through, but I've tried to break down the next series of stuff more about events in my life more than just a timeline. Up until this point, it's all been timeline based, and going forward it's going to be event based, because some of these things are kind of a blur of exactly when they happened. Up until the time, I'm about 15 or 16 years old. That's where you'll see another big change in my life. And so I appreciate you guys watching that watch live. If you watch this later, comment. Again, I'll answer what I can. I'm also recording this to YouTube, so I'll post this onto my YouTube channel under Stony Raw. Go back, look at the prior videos, catch you up to speed with what's going on now. And hopefully I'll do this. I'm trying to do it once a week, but it's been several weeks since I did the last one. And, maybe it'll be a once a month thing. It just kind of goes on how I feel at the moment. And that's about it. Hope you guys are having a great night. And hope you have an amazing weekend. And I'm going to go out and continue to enjoy my night and continue with my weekend. So, thanks for watching. If you want to really get to know me, watch Stony Raw on YouTube and catch up with all the other videos. Talk to you soon.